My Oase Biomaster is making all this noise. We're going to take it apart and clean it. I'm going to show you how you can fix this noise. First things first, let's unplug the heater, and you also want to unplug the motor. First thing you do is you want to turn this so we can detach this hose. And always, I keep a towel around. Just grab it. This won't leak, but a couple of drips of water. I keep an extra towel around and a hand towel. So towel is always a good thing. Really nice feature about this filter is that it's got the pre-filter section. So this is your primer, but it's also your pre-filter, and we'll take it apart and show you how it works. So once again, it doesn't really make a mess. Start taking it apart. In this right here, I've drilled extra holes. So originally there was only one set of holes, and then I put a second set of holes in here to increase the area. So modified this, it seems to flow a little bit better. And then I also changed out my sponges for a different ppm sponge. They originally came with a very fine, depends when you bought yours. I've had mine for a couple of years now. But we're gonna clean these, and this is nice because a lot of times you just clean this and this is all you really need to do. So for the next step here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our heater out. I'm gonna slide this straight out the top. And then I just wipe the heater clean with another towel. So from there, once this lid is open like this, when it's closed, you can't open the sides here. It's a lot of people break this canister because of that. So make sure your lid is up. Release your 4 locks. It hasn't really been that long since I cleaned it. I don't know exactly, but I'm not expecting this to be very bad. So my first tray is the red pad, and I have a small bag of Purigen. It's not even completely exhausted. That's how I know it's not really been that long. And I just lay that on top of this one red pad. So we'll clean this itself, and then from there I have 3 layers of matrix from there in this. So when I do my water changes, I've already done this tank. I have the water that I took out of the tank, and I just rinse my media in. Now you could do that in a bucket, you could do that with dechlorinated water, but what we're going to do real quick is I'm just going to rinse all my media. Sponge cleaning. That sponge isn't even really that dirty. Now, the way this filter comes, it comes with the blue filters for the other levels and 2 other sponges very similar to the intake sponge. I have a lot of fish, and I honestly think it does a fine job and doesn't clog, just like this. And install in reverse order. I've got it open and I've got it apart. I keep bags of Purigen wet, ready to go. So I'll just trade that out. Handles up, just like that. Now you're set. That's clean and done. But here's what's making the noise. It's your pump head. So to get to that, you lift this straight up from the back, take this up and out of your way. Turn this like that and pull straight up. And there you have it. It's all the slime on the impeller, and this causes this to bang around. And actually this is, I recommend replacing this about every 2 years or so, it depends. But I've had pretty good success with mine, and I just replaced it just out of wanting to put one in. It's a couple of years old, so this hole down in here and all in here, clean all this up. That slime is throwing it out of weight and making it bang around, and what you're hearing is it, you know, wrapping around in there. So for this part, you can get a brush like this, or a toothbrush works really good. And we're just going to take it in some of the old tank water, and you can see how nasty it is. I'm just going to Now the cleaning here can be kind of a pain. What I like to do is like take paper towel, just some water in it. You just stick it down in there. You don't want to shove it in too far, and just kind of get it wet. You know, and this could be the hole that this is riding in, these seals down in there. So you just want to clean that hole kind of. Nothing too aggressive. You don't want to scratch anything in here, right? Get in there, and I'll go back with the paper towel. And don't bunch it up. Don't wad it up and push it down in there. Feed it down and in. You could even twist it on the way out, make it more cylindrical. Okay. Use the same one. Wipe out the center housing, because it's not really anything really bad in here. It's just a slime. So get that slime coat off of there. And I do the same thing with the housing. You want to make sure this area is free and clear. No foreign stuff in there. And then I'm going to come back with another paper towel that's dry. And the same sort of thing. Just a dry towel this time. Just want to kind of get anything that may be left over in there. Flip it over. Oh. Drop that piece. Now these passages do go through, and you could try and pass through a pipe brush cleaner, you know, something like this, and then, you know, try and clean out these passages in here, you know. So go in there best you can. You don't want to screw anything up. You don't really want to be forcing anything. You don't know if there's a valve in there, especially with how this turns on and off. So I've never had a problem. You could take this apart and clean all the passages, but this is regular maintenance we're talking about. Now, a very important part of this right here is this seal, that it's clean and dry, and it's on both sides, that you clean this surface. It's perfectly clean and dry, along with the seal around here. Make sure that's pushed in and centered, and that's what you're hearing rattling around because it's out of balance. And this thing always gets me. And now you have this piece go in there and lock into there. And you know, because this side is a block, that this can't go on. That's how you make sure that this is facing the correct way. One last wipe. Make sure everything's good dry. You can get a lubricant. You want to make sure it's aquarium safe. Some people use petroleum jelly. If you do, I'd say just use it very sparingly. Personally, I believe in inspecting the gasket, replace it if it looks questionable, and make sure everything is clean when assembled. And that's the key to a good life. So now just gonna reassemble it. And this will be the same for the other models. This is the 250. This is the smallest one. This is a 40-gallon tank. 350 honestly would probably be a better filter for this tank after owning this, but I really have no problems. So now I'm going to reassemble this. This can only go in one way because it's got a little block out. So don't force it. Turn it till it falls in. Lock that in place. You want to make sure your O-ring is good and looking good shape for your heater. Open the handle. And we want to make sure it's down all the way, and we lock it into place by lifting it up, and then the cord goes right in there. Now we're going to get back in the filter back into place. Let's put our handle down, just like that, and then turn it this way. And then from there, now all we got to do is prime it. The primer's built in, so give that a few pumps, and it'll start to fill itself right away. It's going to start kicking air out the intake as it pulls in the water. So my tank is full, and so once I fill the filter, then I'm going to have to top off the tank again. So when you do this fill up, you want to use mineral water if you're using RODI water. If you're using tap water, just make sure to dechlorinate. At this time, you also want to be just checking for leaks and see what's going on, and give it a couple of minutes to fill up. So after it stops gurgling, I'm going to give it a couple of pumps just to see where we're at. It sounds pretty good. Now I'm going to plug everything back in. That's my pump. That's my heater. And it's going to be passing some air for a little bit. But once it gets that air passed, it'll quiet down. Let's let this run for a minute or two. And you can see it's pushing water, pushing the air out of the pipe there, and now it's starting to quiet down. So once it stops really moving a lot of air and it's quieted down some, one thing I do recommend is kind of give it a little tilt, and it'll move some air out of it. And I like to tilt it in each direction. This isn't uncommon for all canister filters. You're going to have some sort of trap, and you want to watch it for the first few minutes, make sure there's no leaks and everything's looking okay. One thing that you do want to do sometimes is just unplug it and let it sit for a minute. Let that air kind of just work its way out into a big bubble rather than finer bubbles, and it'll pass itself, and then start it once again. And there you have it. There's my mic right up against it. You hear that air pass. But that's how quiet it is in here. And that's how I do it. So that's it. And nice and quiet. Everything's running great. Topped off the tank. And why I said use mineralized water here, because we're replacing the tank water like a water change, not a top off. Because if you're topping off with your tap water, it could be a problem. Check this video out right here, and you'll find out why.